Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sports and Laws podcast. I am one of the hosts, Coach Cody Bauza. We have a special guest here today, my best friend since who knows how long. It goes way back, but big time Patriots fan and supporter, Cole Pekky, otherwise known as Soup, as we call him around these parts.
What up,
Big,
Soup?
big supporter of the Drake May Mafia over here.
Cole, your squad is after a couple years of droughting and just the terrible times that you've had to suffer as a Pats fan. Your team is back in the Super Bowl.
Terrible
times. It was terrible for you. I don't know how you did it, but how does it feel? What's your outlook? Tell us. You're a true Pats fan, so let us know, man.
Yeah, so it's funny. I was at the Pats game 2 weeks ago in Houston, and we're walking around the tailgate, talking to different Pats fans who were around there, and we couldn't stop laughing about how just ridiculous this season has been in terms of expectations. Like we had just ridiculously bad years of Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi, and Cam Newton was thrown in there. The corpse of Cam Newton was thrown in there. You're a big Panthers guy, but so just like going through those years, and then we draft Drake May, third overall. Last year was kind of the same of the past couple of years. We're 4-13. So going this year, very low expectations. We just want a competent football team. We weren't expecting, a Super Bowl, obviously. But right after the Bills game, the first time we played the Bills, we won Sunday Night Football. That's kind of when we realized, we might have something cooking here. And we went there, and Drake made some plays. Diggs was just an absolute stud. And that's kind of the game where we kind of had the mindset we could make some noise this year.
Okay. So then, obviously, I don't know your background as a Pats fan. How does a guy who grew up in Illinois, how does he become a Patriots fan?
Yeah, so growing up, there wasn't a ton of Rams fans. That's kind of why the Rams, kind of subsided. The ownership group didn't really put a ton of effort into the Rams early on. So that's kind of why a lot of us growing up kind of branched out a little bit. Cody's a Colts fan. We have a buddy of ours who's a Vikings fan. Another one's a Colts fan. So there wasn't a ton of people who were Rams fans in our class. We all kind of picked and chose our different squads. I just, I was a big Randy Moss guy growing up. So that was kind of my thing. In recess, I wanted to be Randy Moss. So that was kind of why I became a Pats fan. But yeah, that's kind of the main reason for it.
Okay. All right. So then, going throughout your history, what has been your favorite Patriots Super Bowl win? You got a lot of them. So is there one that you're like, this is it? This is the one.
My favorite one was the last one we just won. So the last Super Bowl, the Dynasty. So I actually went to the AFC Championship game that year in Arrowhead with my dad. So that was kind of hard to beat in terms of for Super Bowls. But that was probably my favorite because it was kind of the cherry on top of the Dynasty. It was the last one we've won. The 28-3 Super Bowl with the Falcons is pretty memorable, as well as the Seahawks. When they all have their own little story of the season, they're all very unique and special. But I'd say the last one we won, we beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead. That's probably my favorite one because I was present for it. So
right. So then, you said obviously we joked around with you guys kind of being in, a little bit in the dumps. You guys had it all the way to the third overall pick, and that's how you were able to get Drake May. Did you expect, even when Belichick was still coaching, did you expect a drop off that immediately, or were you just kind of no, it was Brady the whole time and you knew it, or
I expected a pretty fair drop off. I mean, not only was it Tom, it was our whole roster was kind of aging out. Gronk he retired, so we didn't really have the horses really anymore. So even after Brady left, I expected a drop off. If Tom was present, we still would have been, playoff team, whatnot, but we wouldn't have been a Super Bowl contender by any means. The last year Tom played for us was just a miserable year to watch Pats football, just because our offense was so stagnant. We had no weapons, super slow in offense. It was just the writing was on the wall that we needed to change. That's kind of where we kind of pivoted, and that's when Tom left and vice versa.
Okay. So you guys, your quarterbacks after Tom were my guy Cam Newton, and then you guys drafted Mac Jones, played around with Bailey Zappi, and then Drake May. So then there's already been that comparison of, hey, this is his second year, May's second year, just like Brady's second year. So it's crazy that you guys are back in the big game. What was the hardest thing about watching the Pats without Brady during that time?
I wouldn't say it was hard the first couple of years because we were just so grateful over the past couple of years of Super Bowls and whatnot. Like we knew like our time of suffering was kind of coming for us. The devil was knocking on the door. The devil of death was knocking on our door, coming to pay. So I wouldn't say we were super, disgruntled in a way because we knew that like it was time. So, but the worst year of it all, not even the 4-13 year, the year before when we were just awful and we had picked Drake May third overall. The worst year was when I think we were 8-6 and we went to Las Vegas to play the Raiders. And that's when Jacoby Myers threw the pass 20 yards backwards and we lost on a walk-off.
Oh, yes.
That year was the most miserable one because we didn't make the playoffs because of that. Like we lost it by half a game. We had a lot of aging veterans who were part of the whole dynasty run. And we couldn't send them out the right way because, we lose in Vegas because of a 20-yard lateral.
Right.
That was probably the low moment of the Pats rebuild.
Right, because
are you sure it wasn't when Carl Wentz beat you with 59 passing yards and we were present at the primetime game on a Saturday night?
Yeah. We made the playoffs that year though, so it was a little different.
That's true.
The years that we didn't, that was the low point, is when Jacoby Myers threw it 20 yards backwards. That was just
because then wasn't it Chandler Jones just like spiked?
He stiff-armed Mac Jones into the shallow realm. Yeah.
Stiff-armed him straight out of New England.
My best friend from college, he's also a Pats fan. He was at that game. Like his girlfriend flew him to Vegas to watch that game, and he was present for the Jacoby Myers 20-yard lateral.
I think you muted yourself, Alan.
Check. Y'all hear me now?
Yep, there you are.
All right, sorry, technical difficulties. So then, I kind of want to change gears to Bill Belichick. Obviously, recent news: he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. I thought that was the surest bet of the week that was going to happen during Super Bowl week, which was, Bill Belichick is making the Hall of Fame. So then, what as a fan, as your former coach, what do you think happened? What's going on with that?
Yeah, so Bill's always kind of been like a smug personality. Like he kind of rubs the media the wrong way and whatnot. So I personally have my issues with Bill Belichick as a coach and kind of how he left things with Tom after he left. Like we could have wrote it out for another year or two probably if he just, kept the locker room intact. But at the end of the day, like the dude has 8 Super Bowl rings.
Right.
There's been 59 Super Bowls in the NFL, and he has 8 of the 59 Super Bowls. I mean, I thought they sent the news in my football group text that he didn't make the Hall of Fame, and I legitimately thought it was like a fake tweet when they sent it to me.
Oh yeah.
I think everyone
I was
did.
like,
yeah.
I legitimately thought it was fake, and then I go on Twitter, Adam Schefter. He retweeted it, so
right.
I was like, "Wow, this is actually real." So, I mean, the voting committee. I was doing some reading on it, and it kind of sounded like they were almost doing something where they had 2 finalists who it was their last year on the ballot, and they were senior finalists, so they thought like, "Oh, Bill's a shoo-in, like everyone's gonna vote for Bill, so I'm gonna vote these other people in." But then other people apparently had that same mindset and then didn't vote for Bill. So then he ended up getting left off the ballot. There's also some Spygate stuff in there too. I'm not sure how accurate that is. I'm not in the room, but kind of what I've been seeing on Twitter, people talking about who were actually voters. They kind of voted for the more senior candidates.
Okay. So then how much do you, not to attack Bill, but Coach Belichick, but how much do you blame him for the kind of the post-Brady struggles? How much does that fall on his shoulders for that?
See, Bill, the coach, is not the reason he got fired. The GM, he was in charge of all football operations. He was a GM/coach. and we had just some horrible drafts.
Mhm.
After probably the last 2 or 3 years, Tom was there, and then the 2 years after Tom left, we had just some brutal drafts, brutal misses. I mean, Sean McVay and Les Snead were making fun of us. We drafted Cole Strange in the first round. Um,
Yes.
Yeah.
so I mean, we just
Yes.
had some rough drafts, and I mean, Bill can still coach. I've no doubt that if he coached in the NFL now, he'd be successful if he was on a good team. But it was more so our rosters were just dreadful the last couple of years he was there, and he had a large piece in that. So I think that's kind of why he
Okay.
got fired.
What from your observation, what was the thing that was holding Bill the GM back? Bill the coach, like you said, I fully agree with you. The defensive scheme in his mind is it's still fantastic. Even watching that now at UNC, it's just clear that he doesn't have the horses like he does in the NFL. So I don't think that side of the ball is there, but the GM side, what happened?
I mean, Bill's a big value guy. It's kind of like a meme on the internet now that he would rather trade down and draft, a seventh round wide receiver from Holy Cross or something. So um, it's just kind of like he gets too fixated on certain players, and I think he just, for example, Keon White is a defensive end for the Niners currently, but we drafted him in the second round a couple years ago, and it was the same draft as Christian Gonzalez. We drafted Christian Gonzalez in the first round, Keon White in the second round.
Mhm.
But a report came out a month or so ago that Bill was so adamant about drafting Keon White that he wanted to take Keon White in the first round. He wanted to take him with the Christian Gonzalez pick. But he got persuaded, no, we can wait for Keon. But
Right.
Keon got traded for a 6th round pick this
Yeah.
NFL season. So that tells you how well that pick turned out. So I mean, he just gets very fixated on certain players, I felt like, and it just didn't work out.
So current state of your team, like I said earlier, like everyone sees, you guys are in the Super Bowl, which is fantastic. Um, I mean, the criticisms of your not roster, of your schedule, I feel like are kind of overblown. What is your thoughts on all that criticism about, oh, you guys really hadn't played anybody and you're, I would say lucky. It's the NFL. No one gets lucky, but you've had some fortunate breaks. How about that? Is there any validity to those criticisms in your eye?
See, this is where I get off with the schedule talk.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's the NFL. Everyone plays NFL teams every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And not only were we playing these, lower level teams, but we were taking care of business, to be
Right.
quite honest with you. Like,
Mhm.
we weren't just winning these games by, 3, 4 points. Like, we were blowing these teams out for the most part. We
Mm-hmm.
played the Panthers earlier this year,
No, you guys got us, bro.
and that
Yeah, it
game,
was,
I
yeah.
mean, it was BTA.
Yeah, no, it
So,
was. It was.
so I mean, it's not like we were playing these teams and we were skating by. Like, we were taking care of business. So, for the most part, I think the schedule stuff is overblown. I totally get the criticism. Like, if I was a fan of a different team, I'd be saying probably the similar things. But it's the NFL. I mean, we've won 3 straight playoff games against top 5 defenses.
Yep.
We're about to play another really great defense. It's going to be in kind of the same style of game, hopefully, where it's kind of a grinded out, low scoring game. That's kind of our key to success. But like I said, it's the NFL, man. So you play tough teams every Sunday.
Yeah. Oh,
So if you guys
1,000.
if you guys win, does that mean the Las Vegas Raiders are Super Bowl champions by default?
No, unfortunately, the Las Vegas Raiders, who are picking first overall, are not Super Bowl champions. That game is just disgusting to me that we lost that game because it was the
It's the
first.
That's
reason
the
you didn't
burn
have
the
the number
tape.
1 seed.
Yeah.
Because we had our roster from last year to this year was just completely different. We signed basically an entire new team. Offensive line, there's only one returning starter. We signed like 7 different defensive starters. So our entire offense and defense were pretty much, flipped upside down.
Right.
So it was first game, it was raining, brand new squad. This stuff wasn't clicking. Drake didn't play that well. If we played the Raiders in November, I have no doubt in my mind that we would beat them by 30. So it was just the fact that we played them week 1. We have a brand new coaching staff, brand new roster. It was just one of those fluky week 1
Right.
losses.
Gonzo
Uh,
didn't play either that game, did he?
He did not play that game either.
That's what I didn't think so.
He
okay.
missed the first 3 games with a hammy.
Okay.
We're undefeated this year when Milton Williams and Gonzo both play.
That was you guys signing Milton Williams was a not I want to say underrated because you paid him big money, but I felt like that was like the sneaky like why aren't more people talking about you guys picking him up because he was fantastic for Philly. And I know Jalen Carter
He's
got
a
all the
monster.
like I know Jalen Carter got all the attention, but I felt like watching the tape, Milton Williams dic- Milton Williams dictated a lot of things so that Carter could take advantage of, and I I'm just shocked more people want to talk about how big that was for you guys. Your roster is pretty fantastic. Like I was looking down, you don't have as many obviously all pros as Seattle, but you have quite a few good players where it's like
We're deep.
PFF loves. You know what I mean? Like, is there a weakness in your roster that you're seeing? Like,
Oh yeah. Well, our left side, our O line, we have 2 rookies. We're the first. I think I saw on Twitter we're the first team in the last like 30 years to start 2 rookie O linemen in the Super Bowl, which is crazy. And it's on the left side of the line.
okay, yeah,
Jared Wilson and Will Campbell for the whole season they've been solid, nothing crazy. But at the end of the day, the rookies, we played some really great defenses in the playoffs.
mm-hmm.
Like they're gonna get their bell run. They're gonna get their welcome to the NFL moments, but I'd say our biggest problem is our wide receiver room, other
Mm-hmm.
outside of Diggs.
Okay,
Diggs, when Latin, especially this postseason, teams have started to bracket him a little bit, and
mm-hmm.
we haven't really found that other receiver who can consistently win one on one and run like a good route tree. Like Booty is awesome. I love Kayshawn Booty and everything, but he has great ball skills. He does not have like this diverse route tree where he runs goes and dig. It's all he runs.
Yeah.
So he runs a slant now and then. He's not running like any post corner or anything crazy. Like he's just not, a route guy. He's not someone who's gonna route you up consistently. Diggs is kind of that guy. And when they take him away, our offense kind of gets stagnant. So that's probably our biggest problem. Our defense has just been lights out this postseason. We're deep on defense. Our linebacking group is awesome. Our corners are just phenomenal. I think in the NFL nowadays, you have to have a really good nickel, really good, some kind of box safety or a nickel player. And Marcus Jones, our nickel, and he's been just nails this whole season.
Yeah.
So that's been pretty cool to see.
Okay. So then, kind of, getting narrowing down to the Super Bowl. Where can you take it? I'll start the negative. Where are you afraid of that Seattle can take advantage of you? I'm assuming I know
I
your answer, but I'm gonna let you say it.
I am terrified. No, I don't think you're gonna know what I'm gonna say. I am
Oh,
Oh,
terrified of Rashid Shaheed. That's why I'm scared of the
oh,
most.
okay, okay. I thought you were gonna say D-line. No, no, I want to hear this.
So really for the main part of this season, the only time that we've had struggles on defense is against like burner receivers, like Marvin Mims this past game against the Broncos.
Uh huh.
He just cooked, Gonzo for like a 50-yard gain. Like we just had weird big plays like scored against us throughout the season. And Rashid Shaheed is a guy that just scares the absolute brakes off me just because he's a 4-2 guy.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have to main focus on JSN, so there's gonna be a ton of single coverage on Shaheed, and that's a guy you don't want to have single coverage on because you want to have safety over top of him at all times. So, not really worried about Cooper Cup. JSN, I think will have a good plan for him, but Shaheed's the guy that just scares the absolute bejesus out of me.
Okay. Then the opposite. Where can you take advantage of on Seattle?
Yeah, so their defense is awesome. Obviously, they're very deep in the D line. Linebacking group is awesome. Their safeties, it's like kind of like a mini Legion of Boom.
Mm-hmm.
But they have one. Reek Woolen is definitely he's definitely shaky in
Yep.
coverage. Toka
Yep.
had 200 yards against them both games for a reason. It's because Reek Woolen is a little shaky in coverage. So that's the one piece we kind of need to attack on offense.
Okay. A little early, but any Super Bowl predictions score? I figured
Yeah,
I'm
so I kind of anticipate it being a lower scoring game, kind of what we've been seeing throughout the Patriots postseason. I was just talking to my old roommate earlier today. I could see this game going told like if we win, it's going to be close. If we lose, I could see it being ugly. So like I said, if they get off to a fast start, they're very fast on offense. If Shahi and Jason are popping off big plays, it could get ugly in a hurry. That's like the last thing we can do is get our O line in a position where there's pass blocking every down. So if they get out to a lead early, I could see it getting ugly. But if we win, which I think we're going to, so it's gonna be 20-17 Pats.
So you're
Okay.
taking the under.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Because
be low
over under
scoring if
right
we
now is
win.
set at 4. Over under right now is at 45 and a
41 or
half.
something, right?
45
Yeah.
is what I'm seeing right
45,
here.
yeah.
20-17 Pats. That's my
Okay.
prediction.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the other day, I texted him. I think it was last Monday that me and you, Alan, we were making like super early predictions and everything. And I said, I hate to break it to you, but me and Alan both picked the Seahawks on the show. Didn't even get any words in after that, and he just said, "You're either with us or you're against us. There's no Switzerland." He goes, "We don't need you anyway."
You know, it's a famous
Hey.
saying in New England this year. It says, "We all we got, we all we need." That's all I texted back to him. I said, "We all we got, we all we need. We don't need any more. We don't need any more fans."
No, that's fine. You're talking to probably one of the bigger Pats haters around. So best believe, like I get it. I get it. We also talked last week about this is probably one of the more likable Pats teams in a long time. I'm not saying it's 0-1 Pats, but it's like we both love Vrabel. When you guys got Vrabel, I was like, gosh, that's
He's a
perfect.
dude. Yeah.
That is like Tennessee. Tennessee's Tennessee, but gosh, he's gonna be fantastic, and he's done exactly what I thought he's gonna do. You guys were my team that didn't make the playoffs, made the playoffs, and now you're in the freaking Super Bowl. So, man, congrats to you, man. Like that, I'm just happy for. I'm happy for guys when they support a team for a long time and they see their team have success. It's fun. I got a couple quick hitters. Give me 1 to 2 word answers on these. All right, so Brady or Belichick?
Oh, Brady for sure. That's like a no doubt. I think that one got put to bed whenever Tom went to Tampa the year after he left, and he went to the Super Bowl the year after he leaves. So I think that one got put to rest pretty quickly. I mean, Bill is still very important to what we did defensively and everything, but I think Bill, he really needs a good support system. Like he really needs a good offensive coordinator. Like he really struggled after Tom left with McDaniels left after Mac Jones' rookie year, and he had Matt Patricia be our offensive coordinator. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
He
I
really needs a
agree.
support system. He really needs a good quarterback, and he really needs a good OC. If he has both those things, which there's a lot of coaches who are successful at those two things, but he's really like very dependent on the offensive side of the ball, taking care of what they need to take care of.
No,
Don't
I
worry,
feel
he has
that.
Jordan Hudson.
Yeah. She's gonna throw him like a party after he did make the Hall of Fame. Apparently,
I was just reading that. I just typed before we started. I just typed in Google, the Bill Belichick Hall of Fame stuff, just to see if there's any more headlines. And the first 5 things that pop up are Jordan Hudson's throwing him this big party on the day of the Hall of Fame induction or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, man. I think the whole smug personality he had with the media definitely had an impact. Just because, I mean, those are the people that are voting for you. So I can't imagine they did him any favors.
And you guys are going to take down my precious Bill Polian down with you when he didn't even do anything. The guy's what? He was 95% sure that he voted for Bill Belichick, and everyone's like,
that was
no,
a
he
rough
didn't.
look. That was a rough look. When he said that, you shouldn't have said that, Bill. I was like, you should have said, I voted for Bill Belichick. That's all you have to say.
And then Dave Portnoy comes out and is talking all sorts of crazy stuff about Bill Polian and Tony Dungy. And he's like, well, you shouldn't have blamed the deflate gate on him. It's like, Dave, I understand what you're trying to do, but it was Ryan Grigson and Chuck Pagano at that time whenever deflate gate was happening. It wasn't even Tony Dungy
Bill
and Bill
Polian,
Polian.
I will say, has had some very rough moments the past 5 or 10 years. If he would have kept his mouth shut 10 years ago, his pull legacy would be way different. The whole Lamar Jackson receiver talk, that was just brutal.
It was
brutal take. I mean, Is Lamar a 2-time MVP now, or is he just a 1-time?
Two-time, 3-time
Yeah.
All-Pro.
You're telling a
Probably should have
2-time
been
league MVP that he should play receiver. Yeah,
and he probably should have been
something.
a 3-time MVP if
Yeah,
the media
he should have
didn't feel
won
bad
last.
for Josh
Was it
Allen.
last year or year before? I think it was last
Yeah,
year.
no, it was
It was
last
last season.
Last year.
Jeez, dude.
The most overrated Patriots player.
Currently?
No, just of all time. Of the guy
All
you're like,
time.
oh,
Wow.
why does this guy get all the
Oh God, it's a tough one.
okay?
Man, that's really tough actually.
We only ask hard hitters on this
Yeah.
show. It's nothing,
wanna-
nothing
I
easy.
This is a big J journalism right here.
I don't want to like. I mean, I don't want to like fault anyone. Revis is probably the one that when we signed Revis, everyone was like, "Oh my God, Revis was amazing for the 1 year he was here. Like he was good, but like he was like 29, 30-year-old Real Revis. Like it wasn't
Right.
like this wasn't Revis Island. Like he was more of a name at that point. He was still a good player, but he wasn't like Revis. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's the one that I think is probably the most overrated in terms of how Patriots fans perceive that 1 year he was here. That's probably my go-to for overrated Pats player. Plus, he played for the Jets. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I'm shocked Bill signed him. Like I knew he was great, but he's like Jets.
Yeah, I mean he's a Jets guy, so I can't fault any of my other boys.
Most underrated Patriots player that you can remember.
Most underrated. Chris Hogan is definitely in my eyes one of the most
I
underrated.
figured
Patriots.
that's where you were going with that.
He had some just super clutch catches during our postseason runs that just never get any recognition. He had an unreal one-handed catch on a 3rd down against the Chiefs in the 2018 AFC Championship game. He was just massive in that game, and no one ever talks about him in the Pats lane. Like he just gets grouped in these all these other white slot receivers we play with. He wasn't even a slot; he was an outside guy. So he's a totally different player. So it's just funny how he gets grouped in these other white receivers we had.
Okay. Sorry, lost my train of thought. What is one word you would describe this season? Or one phrase, one word or one phrase you would just use to describe this season?
It's funny. There was a Pats super fan that we talked to for the game 2 weeks ago, and he asked us a similar question: "Is define the season in 3 words?" And we all said better than expected. So we all expected, going in the season, I was telling my friends, my expectations, like the ceiling I see this team potentially getting to is we win, 10 to 11 games. We make a wild card, sneak into like a 6 or 7 seed, and just get blown out in the first round. Right. And just totally blew through those ceilings. We won the division. We're in the Super Bowl. Even just winning the division was a huge accomplishment for us. Going to Buffalo, beating them, and obviously winning the division was huge. Just take back the East, but definitely better than expected.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember we were on our way back from softball one night, and I think it was right before the season started, and we were talking fantasy football players and all that. And I said, I need you to be like realistic with me. Like, what are your expectations with this? And I said, are you thinking playoffs? And he said, it was, we can 10 wins gets us in, but then nothing after the first round. So I remember we revisited that question a couple weeks ago when the playoffs started. He's like, well, he goes, we made it to where I thought we could make it. Now we just got to see how far we could go. And then whenever the Patriots beat the Chargers, Alan, you know how much of a supporter I was of the Patriots whenever it became the Texans Patriots. I was texting him. I was like, whatever jerseys you don't have that you're not taking to New England to Foxborough with you, I said, just run them down the street to my house. I said, I'll wear them with pride if I have
to. In your view, next season, win or lose, in next weekend, who is the scariest AFC team who's the team that you're like, you know what, they can definitely take the crown from us? You guys have the crown. You guys have the crown right now.
It's seriously not the Chiefs.
That's not who I want you to say. Say it.
It's not the Bills. It's not the Colts
Dang
either.
it.
Um, I'd say the Broncos if they get another receiver. They're still an ascending team. They still have Bo and rookie deal. Um, but yeah, the AFC is just very strange right now. It's
Uh-huh.
just the Ravens and Bills and Chiefs were like the perennial contenders, and this season they all three of them kind of took steps back. So it's kind of hard to see where next season's going to lie. The Jaguars took a huge step this year. The Broncos currently are probably the team I'm most afraid of, just because I they still have so much. They're just getting rid of all this Russell Wilson money. So
Yeah.
once they kind of get rid of that, they can actually start to build this roster the way they want to, and that's kind of what it kind of scares me. That defense is crazy. They're bringing back all their coaches, but that's probably the team I'm probably most afraid of. But the AFC is just gonna be so strange. Even next year, it's still gonna be very wide open, and anything can happen.
Okay. What has been one thing that Vrabel's done this year that's really impressed you? Pick one thing this season that's he's done that's gone. Yep, I'm definitely glad we hired him.
Well, just last year we had Gerard Mayo, and we had just had all these rumblings in the locker room of problems and within the locker room. Just the culture has been totally flipped upside down.
Okay.
Players enjoy playing for him. Everyone's just talking about how much they love playing in New England. Like Carlton Davis just went on an interview with someone. He was just saying how he'd recommend anyone to come play in New England for Vrabel. So just the culture and how people perceive, like free agents perceive New England, has just totally been flipped upside down.
Okay. What is your message to your fellow Pats fans out there? You guys are in the Super Bowl. What would be one thing you could say if you could talk to every Pats fan in the world out there?
Well, I just talked about everyone I went to Foxborough, but we're all just very like we're playing with house money. I feel like no one expected us to be here, even us. So I
Yeah.
can't say that if we got blown out, it'd be disappointing for sure. But if we
Mhm.
lose in a close game, like we just proved that we deserve to be there, and obviously we're there to win everything. But you know, we're playing with house money at the end of the day. Like that, no one expected us to be here, so whatever happens, happens.
Okay. All right. All right. Cody, you got any questions for Sue?
I think you guys covered all of them. I do want to bring up kind of like a story going back to the when we went to it was me and then Soup and then one of our other buddies who's a Colts fan. We went to Indianapolis. What was that? Was that 2021
It was
when we went there?
2021. It was a Saturday night football game. It was prime time. Were they playing for the 1 seed currently?
The Patriots maybe. I know the Colts
We
were
were
still.
we
It
were the
was like
one
the
seed at the
weird.
time, but I can't remember the Colts what their playoff situation was at
We
that
had to
time.
we had to after because we had to win two of the last four games, and we played you guys, the Cardinals, and the Raiders, and then the Jaguars. But that's besides the point. But we were going in there, and then Colts did what they did. The Colts end up winning. The best part of that trip was walking out of the stadium that night. We're walking, downtown Indianapolis, and Soup's wearing his Tom Brady jersey, and we have Colts fans coming left and right saying, "I want to take a picture with Tom Brady. I want to take a picture with Tom Brady." They bombarded him for at least an hour after the game, and me and my other buddy were just gladly sitting there taking the pictures
There was
for
a
him.
drunkard Colts fan, and we were in front of the Peyton Manning statue. He said he wanted to get a picture with Tom and Peyton. So that was something.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So Soup, how tall are you then?
See, I'm 6'5", but funny story.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
funny story. I used to work for the Battlehawks here in St. Louis, and
Mm-hmm.
my last game working there, it was Tom Brady's first game working for Fox. So
Oh,
I actually escorted his team to the field that day, and Tom Brady makes me look like a small child.
There is a picture of him like he sent me a Snapchat. Like somebody else took the picture, and it's a
uh-huh.
picture of Tom Brady, like talking to people, signing autographs on the field. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like it's pictured Tom Brady in St. Louis. He goes, look closer. In the back, you just see him peeking over his shoulder. It's like a kid in a candy store watching Tom Brady standing right in front of him.
Way to play it cool.
He's also very scary to look at in person because it doesn't really show up on TV as much, but the Botox work that man has done, it is very evident in person.
Oh, goodness.
Extremely evident. His
Oh,
face does not move. He looks like the handsome Squidward meme.
no, I bet. Oh, I bet. I bet. I bet. So Soup, man, thanks for coming on to the program, bro. We appreciate it, man. Good luck to you guys next Sunday. If you guys win, we'll be cheering you on. And if you don't, I'm sorry, I won't feel bad for you.
No worries.
All right.
So if we
Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome back. Once again, we appreciate Soup coming on to the program. Just all classic. So the first game starts on Wednesday, March 4th. Our resident baseball expert Coach Cody Bowser is going to go ahead and give us his insight, things to watch for. So go ahead, Coach. What do you want to talk about here?
Yeah, as you can see, it's not my normal background behind me with my name and everything. I'd switched it up to the baseball podcast background because that's really what after the Super Bowl, that's basically what's taking over. Unless you're an NBA or NHL fan, I'm a big Blues fan as far as hockey, but once spring training starts, that's basically where my mind goes. But
Right.
this year, like we said, Alan introduced the World Baseball Classic. That happens. It's kind of like on an Olympic schedule. Except it's every 3 years. So the last one was in 2023, obviously, and then in that one, Team USA. I'm really going to try to focus like on the Team USA because that's what people who listen. That's who they'll know are those guys because MLB
Mm-hmm.
marketing players. That's a whole different conversation.
Right.
To kind of summarize what happened in 2023, the Team Japan ended up beating the US in the championship game, which Team Japan, just the talent level that's coming out of Japan right now for baseball is unreal. Because Alan, you really started watching baseball, I know, a lot last year whenever the World Series was happening, like with Shohei, and then they also have Hiroki Sasaki, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and then there's exactly.
I'll link it on the description. I wrote a whole deal about Yamamoto and how impressed I was. It was fantastic.
Yeah. So granted, yes, they all play for the Dodgers, but they also played for Team Japan too. So that team itself was unbelievable. And so Japan ultimately ends up winning. And the biggest critique of Team USA was the pitching staff. They had a bunch of guys who were good at one point in their career. So at that time, it's 2023. So basically, the ace, I guess you could say the ace of the staff was probably Diamondbacks pitcher Merrill Kelly. Merrill Kelly is a good pitcher in Major League Baseball. Is he a household name? No, he's not. Is he one of those guys that's gonna get the covers of the video games? Is he gonna be Cy Young conversations? Probably not. You also had an Adam Wainwright who was in the last season of his career at that point as basically your number 2 starter. And so he's already aging out of the game as itself, and he really only came back that season to get 200 wins under his belt for his career just to reach that milestone. After that, it was just kind of a bunch of guys just like, hey, yeah, I guess so. I'll put the flag on my chest and go out there and play, which is a good thing to do. But the Team USA's pitching staff just didn't have that, that superstar to go out there.
If you don't mind me asking, sorry, Coach, if you don't mind me asking as a layman, what happened?
So basically it was, the starters for other teams were going out, throwing 6-7 innings a game. And just shoving it to where Team USA, they did enough to win games, but it was the offensive superstars that there was a lot of clutch home runs, and I'm talking like multi-run home runs, like Trey Turner hitting
Right.
grand slam after grand slam. I think it took two of those, and then just ultimately, like I said, the offensive superstars just taking over at that point. It's like, look, our pitching staff is probably going to give up 4 to 5 runs a game right now, so we're going to have to go out there and score 7. So that's just how we're going to win. And a lot of the guys that are on this year's roster were on the previous roster, but they didn't play. They were there just to kind of see, the experience and everything. And now this year, they're, the main pieces of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so this year, they made it a point to, go out and get definitely better pitching. I mean, you have the National League the reigning Cy Young Award winner in the National League with Paul Skeens. You have the reigning Cy Young winner in the American League, Tarek Skubal. Those are your 1 and 2 guys right there. And so, all right, there's that. That definitely plays at any level if you got that. And then you got a guy who's probably your number 3. Heck, that can be a 1A and 1B between Skeens and Skubal itself. Then you got 2 guys. Logan Webb, he's a right-handed pitcher for the San Francisco Giants. And then you got Joe Ryan, who is a right-handed pitcher for the Minnesota Twins. Those guys are both aces of their staff. So there's almost not your 3-4 guys, but your 2A, 2B kind of guys. So you got 4 guys right off the bat who are definite number ones on their team and are perennial Cy Young vote getters.
Yeah.
So that just bolsters the pitching staff right away. And then to kind of back in the bullpen, you got David Bednar, who's been a great reliever between the Pirates and the Yankees. Clay Holmes also been good with the Yankees and the Mets. Griffin Jacks has been good with the Twins. One thing that is interesting, though, is that Clayton Kershaw, after the World Series, he was retired. He is on the roster. Will he pitch any? I don't know if he'll pitch any at all, but he is on the roster just to, I think it's just kind of one last hoorah to go out there,
because he's not playing this upcoming season, so he's just
because like if you look, I have the roster pulled up here. If you look down, it's got names, everything, and then the organization that they're affiliated with. And Clayton Kershaw is the only one on Team USA who's not affiliated with the organization because technically he retired from Major League Baseball. He doesn't have a team,
right?
But so the pitching is going to be the best part about Team USA right now, and that's what I'm excited to watch because like all these, I mean, there's definitely teams like Venezuela is going to be, or not, yeah, Venezuela is going to be decent, but teams like the DR and then Puerto Rico, those 2 teams, those islands down there, they're baseball factories.
They are.
Is what they are. I played with a guy in college at Lindenwood, and I was just talking to him about high school baseball and all that stuff. He's like, dude, I had 2 classes. I went to a baseball academy in Puerto Rico. Yeah. And so it's like, and granted, nothing to take away from NAIA, which I played, but like he went to those baseball academies and he ended up playing NAIA ball. It's like, can you imagine like these guys who are still down there, or guys that are up here now, like like the Juan Soto, Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s, just guys like that, like what their lifestyle was, growing up down there. So like I said, go ahead.
No, you're fine. So because of the improved pitching, coach, what was there? Obviously, there's an emphasis. Did they purposefully hold some guys back on the first go around? What made our pitching so poor back in 23?
Yeah.
Like what happened? Like, was it just a gap in talent at the pitching staffs?
No, it definitely wasn't a gap in pitching staff because you still had guys that were, I wouldn't quite to say at the level of Skubal and Skeens. Well, Skubal was in the league, but he wasn't at the level he is now.
Right.
Skeens ultimately wasn't in the big leagues yet. But kind of what research that I've done on it and just my personal opinion, it's like this these games are happening and spring training is still going on. So like
Uh-huh.
spring training doesn't stop. Like, like in the Olympics, like they do Winter Olympics, like hockey stops.
The stoppage, yeah.
Spring training still goes on. So my kind of thing is that pitchers really aren't, they for people who really don't know, pitchers in baseball are very, very weird people. And I'm
Mhm.
not, I'm not afraid to say that. If anyone's a pitcher here, they know what I'm talking about because they have a schedule. It's a very strict routine. It's a very strict
Mhm.
schedule. Like, hey, I threw 60 pitches this day. I can't throw 20 until 3 days from now.
Right.
Like I'll do all this arm care and all that. I think it had a lot to do, with their routines and everything. Like, will they be able to go at that point? Like, will they be ready enough to pitch in this and then also when this is over, go back to spring training for, a week and a half and then the regular season starting. So
Okay.
I think basically it's just routine and then just the scheduling of it is what kept pitchers away because
Uh-huh.
hitters, yeah, you have a routine, you have a schedule, but not as strict as like what a pitcher would do, like with arm care and things of that nature, and just routine, like just trying to stay healthy kind of
Yeah.
things. So I think that was the biggest thing keeping like the game's biggest pitchers away. And I'm not saying like guys like Skeens and Scuba are going to go out there and throw complete games every time. I don't see that happening. I bet they'll be on a 5 inning, max
Yeah.
more than likely, but there also has the variable of the manager going out there and taking the ball from those kind of guys. And
Uh-huh.
just with the kind of attitudes and competitors they are, it's going to be very hard for them to do, especially on a worldwide stage.
Correct. Correct. So then is there a real conversation about possibly having a stoppage? Because I'm assuming MLB wants to keep promoting this. Like if this is your Olympic moment, you want all eyes. I would assume at least the Fox or ESPN or whoever has the coverage for the games would want the MLB to go, hey, make a stoppage. If we need to push the season back or cut something off or whatever, we can make the adjustment. But there, anytime you put investment into anything international, I would assume the league wants to go, no, let's pursue this because we want as many international eyes as possible.
Yeah, I don't think that there will be a stoppage like hey, the World Baseball Classic is going on, we're stopping everything. Mainly because there's just so many people within a team's organization, whether
Mm-hmm.
that's just the big league team. You got triple A, you got double A, you got three different types of single A
Yeah.
teams. And
Yeah.
so there's just so many people within the organization that it just can't stop for those guys. Like there's guys that are good enough to play on these teams, but they ultimately is like, hey, I thanks for the offer, but I'm not going to,
Yeah.
because whatever reason, whether it's it's personal reason or they just don't feel like that's the best fit for them, don't want to risk the injury. I think that's a big thing. So ultimately, no, I don't think there'll be a stop. It's just due to the size of organizations as a
Okay.
whole.
Okay. Okay. Um. What's your prediction for the pool play, and who do you think's going to win it all?
I mean, looking at the roster right now, it just kind of depends on how pool play goes and all of that. It's going to be hard for me not to pick USA and Japan again.
Right.
I think, and it's good if that were to happen. It'd be another great game. The 1 in 23 ended up being 3-2
Mm-hmm.
that game. So, and it's like, well, that could happen again because, but like I said, also you got teams like Puerto Rico, who is managed by Yadier Molina, the
Yeah.
guy who
Mm-hmm.
deserves every statue in St. Louis right now. Uh, and then you got the Dominican, who's just that. If you look at their roster, that team is, unbelievably talented as
Uh-huh.
well too. So I mean, it's gonna be a good product, and that's what I love about like the World Baseball Classic, is
Mm-hmm.
that for people who don't take in baseball like a full 162, like guys like myself do, who who people should say that you should have better things to do with your time. Well, I don't sometimes. So watching 162 game season and watching every game like it's game 7 of the World Series, that's what I do on my time. You just leave me
Right.
alone with that. But it's the World Baseball Classic is a good thing to get people just engaged in the game, because you see fans from all over the world. They pack these stadiums that are, thousands of miles away from, their home country.
Uh-huh.
So like you watch a game like Mexico in the US, that the atmosphere at that game, I mean, like, you see like it's the closest thing to a college football atmosphere that I think North America gets
Okay.
right now. And I know a lot of NFL fans might come at me and be like, "You don't know Arrowhead." Hi, Wilson. But just as far as like the diehard commitment like to the country and
Yeah.
everything, it's just very cool to watch. And if I had the opportunity to go, I would definitely do it. I just love watching it, just on TV. You can feel when those types of things happen, you can feel the atmosphere through, the TV, or if you're watching highlights of it. That should just prove to you like how special it actually is.
Right.
And
Right.
then like it, and just how exciting like the games are. Like I'll just use Pat McAfee for example. Like they're not a baseball program at all. They're trying to build into it, or on ESPN, they're trying to cover, more sports. And I
Yeah.
understand baseball's not the sport that it used to be. It's not the leading viewer out of the 4 major sports. It's not the leading view getter really
Mm-hmm.
anymore. But when the World Baseball Classic was on, he was pounding the drum for the game of baseball. And so it just kind of brings those casuals to, just below casual watcher, and like, hey, this game actually has the potential to be, very, very entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that, you're going to get a World Baseball Classic game throughout every game of the summer, but, there's glimpses of it.
Mm-hmm.
You got your rivalry games that can be fun. And then, closer to the end of the year, like, in your September and all that, when playoff races start heating up, that's when more things can, get a little more antsy. And into October, like I said earlier, like I remember when the World Series was on this past year, me and you talking about it almost every night
Oh, dude, it was
about it.
fantastic. It like the ratings for the World Series were better than the NBA Finals for the third straight year, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a reason why. I mean, the Dodgers, like them or hate them, they are a draw. They have a very passionate fan base, and if you're a casual like myself, I played baseball. I understand the game. Obviously, I understand some guys. I'm not in it like you are, but I have strong feelings about the Dodgers. So I'm going to watch them to go, did they pull this off or did they get what they deserve? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so it's incredible. It's a very frustrating game to watch because you think, oh, we have all the money, we can buy all the players, but it's more than that. It's more than
Mm-hmm.
that. And I think the game of baseball is in a good spot. There's some things I want them to clean up. Mainly, they got to do a better job of advertising their stars. Like, I've heard of Otani. I know who Otani is. He's a 6'3" Japanese man. That's, you know what I mean? Like, and granted, he has an interpreter. But
That interpreter's in prison now, so.
And this new guy, he looks like the squarest dude ever. And I don't know if it's,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, he just looks, I do nothing wrong ever. But it, for being the best baseball player on the planet, how is he not on every commercial I've ever seen? Like, he has the New Balance. Okay, I've seen him in New Balance. Mm-hmm. But other than that, like, how's he not in the Gatorade commercial? How's he not
that's
in
also that's his doing too.
Oh, that's
Like
true.
he doesn't he as far as as a big star as he is, he's probably the most humble.
Okay.
Out of all of them. Like he doesn't really want the attention. Like he understands the attention he gets. I mean, the dude is a unicorn. had the
Right.
first 50 home run, 50 stolen base season ever.
They literally changed the structure of the show for him.
Yeah.
Like, and I love the MLB The Show. Like, that's literally one of my favorite games to play. But they changed the structure just so you can have an Ohtani.
Yeah, and that's just another thing. Him, being able to play both sides. I say play both sides of the ball, meaning not defensively and hitting, because everyone does that, but pitching and hitting. And two, it's like we got a guy that can do both of these, and there's always arguments like, how is this guy not just the MVP every year? Because if you take him away, like you're taking away a number one starting pitcher and your best hitter on the team.
Yep.
So it's like I understand the argument, and baseball marketing, I think it's just because of the long season, and then just so many people in the organization. Mm-hmm. And then heck, there might not even be a season next year because of the CBA and the lockout and all of that. But
do you want to get into that real quick? Because I agree with you. Like hearing everything, my fear is it's almost going to be 94, and I think it might be worse because I think
it'll definitely be worse.
Like, I think the owners are just going to go, no, I don't care what you guys say. Like, I am like half the league cannot compete consistently. Half the league. And when they do, they literally it's no, this is no shot to any of my buddies that are Royals fans, but the Royals only were able to compete because they got lightning in the bottle. They got a bunch of guys who were super cheap, and they were able to catch it 2 years back to back. But after that, it's the Royals aren't, you know what I mean? Like they've had their moments recently as well, but it's not like in basketball is almost worse too, to where you need the superstar. You need one or two superstars, and not everybody can be football, but just the idea of like, hey, we haven't spent enough money, so we're not going to be able to compete long term. That stinks. So now I'm just here for good vibes, and you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm all about good vibes, but the games need to matter too.
With the Royals situation back in 2014, 2015, they had a lot of homegrown talent through their farm system. And then those guys ultimately, they were cheap because at that time they were on rookie deals.
Yep.
Yeah. And then whenever, payday ended up coming, it's like, oh, it's not about the money. And then over here, they're like, wait, how much are you offering me? Yeah. And then, so like ultimately, money was the thing there. And, Kansas City and St. Louis are basically the same market. It's a Midwest market with a city that, ultimately loves and supports their team with everything they got. Yeah. I don't want to say that these teams can't compete spending what the Dodgers spend. I mean, yes, it's hard just based on, market and, marketability to like with advertising and all that. I mean, the Dodgers owner is freaking Magic Johnson. I mean, yeah. So, who's the Cardinals owners? Oh, he owns a lot of Arby's. So yeah. So
yeah, and Magic Johnson's the minority owner. I forgot about the big head honcho guy who's like, he's like a tech, like I don't even know. I see his face, like Mark something. And he's like, oh, I own like 3 or 4 big tech companies. That I'm a billionaire.
So my thing is, it's that what's gonna keep the next season from happening? It's the salary cap talk. Should baseball have a salary cap? I don't think baseball should have a salary cap. Baseball needs a salary floor.
Okay.
But you can't have one without the other. So just to kind of like, a story that kind of happened last year, the Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, went into the Philadelphia Phillies locker room and was talking about this, like, hey, CBA's coming up. Just started talking about the salary cap. Bryce Harper, if you know who that is.
Yep. I know Bryce Harper.
He told Manfred to get out. He said, get out of our locker room. Get out of our clubhouse. Told the commissioner of baseball that.
Yo.
So I see both sides of the coin.
Okay.
I see why MLB wants a salary cap because teams like the Dodgers just so say the Dodgers, we'll take the two teams on opposite ends of the spectrum. We'll take the
Yeah.
Dodgers and we'll take the Pirates. So Paul Skeens, the guy that we were talking about, World Baseball Classic, NL rating Cy Young, plays for the Pirates.
Wait, isn't he dating
Livy Dunn? He dates Livy Dunn.
Yes, okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Paul Skeens is, I'm obviously exaggerating. If the MLB doesn't have a salary cap, Paul Skeens will make $1 trillion because but like Pittsburgh's not going to pay him because their owner doesn't want to.
Right.
That's the issue. And so the Dodgers are going to be like, oh, you're going to offer him 60 million? Well, we'll offer him 80. They're like, okay, well, we'll offer him 80. The Dodgers like, fine, we'll offer him 110. Like, there's just nothing you can do about that. But like I posted a reel. Like I said, it's not the fact that teams can't pay these guys. It's just the fact that teams don't want to pay these guys. Because like Pittsburgh's a pretty decent sized market.
It's a good
It's on
sized
the
market,
East,
yeah.
it's on the East Coast, and they signed a very, very lucrative TV deal that put money in the owner's pockets. Well, where did that money go after it went into the owner's pockets? It stayed there.
Yep.
So, and then it's just teams like that is what gives, just kind of the sport the bad rap. It's like, well, you have your teams like the Dodgers and you have the teams like the Yankees who spend, and the Mets who have a well over $1 billion payroll. And then you got teams like the A's, the Rockies, and the Pirates who are barely touching $5 million. It's like, it's just such a sizable gap to where it's like these teams will be better if they spend more. Like the more they spend, maybe not necessarily the better you're going to be, but the more of a chance you're going to have. And that's where the salary floor comes in. But then, like I said, you can't put that floor in without putting the cap, the cap in as well.
So do you think you'll be kind of like what the NBA does? You have a hard cap, then a soft cap with like a tax or whatever, a luxury tax or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And then you can get guys in maybe not quite the NBA because like they figured out like, okay, now we have to have aprons when you get past like you enter the yellow zone, then the orange zone, then the red zone. You know what I mean? Like
NBA money is so confusing to me. I don't understand it. I watch it because I like watching basketball. Like I don't care what goes on behind the scenes. It's like, oh, basketball's on, I'll watch it. But like I think if the cap is implemented into the game of baseball, I think it's gonna start off as a soft cap. I don't think there'll be two different ones. I think it's just gonna start off as a soft. And then, ultimately when the CBA rolls around again after 5 years, then they'll implement the hard cap, possibly. Or they might just just implement one and just keep it, and then like the NFL does and raises it every so often, as inflation grows, this cap's got to grow too.
Right. And you almost tie it to the league revenue. So I think the smart thing is if you do a soft cap initially, because I don't think the players won't go for a hard cap. I think most guys will be like, no. So I think you do soft cap and then you do like a luxury tax or whatever. So
which is already implemented.
Right. And then it's
moral of the story is if you want to moral of the story is if you want to get into baseball, get into it this year, enjoy the product, because like I said, next year we don't know if there's even, I highly doubt there's not a season.
Okay.
I doubt there's a full season. I can see it being very similar to the COVID season where there was only 60 games. I don't know if like 60 might be, too little. I could see it being around like the 80. I can see him missing like half the season and being like an 80 game season, which, it's still an abbreviated season, but at least you still got half of the product.
And then nobody's an all-star that year, right? That's how that works. Okay.
Nobody's an all-star, but They'll still do, MVPs, all that,
Okay.
all that kind of stuff. Which, and like, just another thing with like this cap thing, I just don't know how it's gonna work. Because like, will these guys who are making stupid amounts of money, will they be grandfathered in? I mean, obviously, there's gonna have to be some restructuring done, whether it's like deferrals, like just keep pushing it down the line, like the Dodgers have done with Shohei. Like he's making $2 million for 10 years, and then the rest of his money comes well after his playing days. So it's like, you gonna do that, or is there gonna be like some clause where it's like, hey, you might just have to give up on these guys and they're free game? Like if they do that, that would turn the sport upside down. If they're like if this sends you over the cap, you're going to start cutting players, and then they're just going to be free agents, and then it's just it almost turns into an expansion draft.
Which is my next question. Do you think baseball will expand at all?
Yes, definitely not by next year, because like a lot of times like these expansions, they happen with CBAs and everything. So I can see by the next one there being, and I know that the cities they're looking at is Nashville.
Nashville would be perfect.
Nashville would be perfect. Indianapolis would be perfect.
Yep.
The one I don't get that everyone
I'm shocked that
pushing,
Indy doesn't have a team. Like now that you said that, I'm like,
they have a AAA team.
They have a triple. Okay, that's okay. Okay.
Yeah, and so the one city that I can't speak bad about the city. It's just things you hear on the news, you hear on online, and all that stuff. That Portland is getting such big traction for a Major League Baseball team, and I just can't put my finger on why.
I don't know either, and I don't know, because I know they support their Trailblazers. Like the Trailblazers are supported very well, but no offense to the city, I don't know.
And there's a few more, like Salt Lake City is in there too. I think
Salt Lake's another one. Oh.
And then I think the Carolinas were, because ultimately there's 6 divisions. So ultimately you would have to add a team in each division. Okay. So like you would take Indianapolis and Nashville, for example. One of those teams would go to the NL Central, one of those teams would go to the AL Central. And then, East Coast, New Orleans doesn't have a team.
Wait, hold on. Or would you just realign it and make it north, south, east, west?
There's been a whole lot of division realignments with baseball, like with just like this possible expansion, and it gets nutty. Like teams that you wouldn't think, like teams that only play each other, twice a year sometimes, heck, even once a year sometimes. And it's like, now I'd be playing these guys 6 times a year. It'd just be strange. Like I think the Cardinals, the Royals, the Cubs, the White Sox. See, that's 4. Who was the 5th one? I think Houston comes back, and that makes a Central division, or was it a Midwest division? I don't remember. It was one of those. So like the Cubs, the White Sox, the Cardinals, the Royals, and then I think it was the Astros thrown in there, or it might have been the Indianapolis team thrown in there too, would make one division. Because then it's like, if you do that, you take away some of these like great rivalries. Like I would be beside myself if they took away the Cardinal Cub rivalry because of division alignments.
So then you're saying they'd almost, instead of ALNL, they'll just do everybody kind of lumped in?
It would still be ALNL. Everybody would just move.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll have to find whenever we get off here, I'll find the picture and I'll send it to you.
We'll put a picture and graphic of it on there. So, and I'll just say, wow, that's interesting. But golly,
it gets very nutty. And then you got some people, because then like you'd put the Mets and the Yankees in the same. It put the Mets, Yankees, and the Red Sox all in the same division, which would be nuts.
Zoinks!
Because you would just have simply, I mean, you still have the Red Sox-Yankees rivalry, obviously, because it's Boston and New York. But then you get the New York rivalry in the same division, where then they would be playing 6 times a year instead of just the one time.
The one, yeah. Gosh. Oh, man. Man. All right. Anything else before we wrap this up?
If you really want to get into more baseball stuff, college baseball is starting. Like I'd advise watching some of that. Just watching, kids be kids playing. It's a kids game and grown men are playing it. That's what everybody says about the sport they play.
Yeah.
But just from like a me experience, college baseball was some of the most fun times of my life. Just the camaraderie, and I'm sure you could say the same thing with college football.
Oh, obviously, yeah.
Just being on the road trips with the guys and all that, and just the energy and the fire, the attitudes of these guys.
Sound of the aluminum bat. Oh yeah. Our practice field wasn't too far from the baseball practice field, or the baseball field, so it was always nothing for us to hear the ding,
ding.
You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, oh, baseball's starting up. It's fall ball.
Yeah, it's so fun, and you get to watch some of these guys, like some teams, just to throw a few out there, like LSU, Vanderbilt, Coastal Carolina, Eastern, basically any of the Carolina teams. You watch any of the Carolina teams play college baseball, you're getting a good product. Texas. And you can go up and down. And then if you want to even get into it, I played against a lot of teams at the NAI level that would beat the tar out of some of these Division I programs. Anybody wants to give a look to Southeastern University or Georgia Gwinnett, go ahead.
Okay.
We played Gwinnett a couple times, and it's like these guys are a different breed.
Man. Okay. Well, obviously next week we'll talk Super Bowl, and we'll slowly get into more baseball, probably talk a little bit NBA with the All-Star game and stuff. But dude,
March Madness will be coming up here soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for reminding me. So yeah, a lot more topics coming up in the next couple of weeks. So that'll be it for us tonight. Definitely like, subscribe, share. Definitely comment on the reels and YouTube shorts. If you are still paying attention with us, we appreciate you listening. We're up to 36 subscribers, which is 36 people who have liked and like what we're saying, and it just means the world to us. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and again, a big shout out to Soup for coming on tonight and talking Pats. I'm sorry for any Seahawks fans that are listening. I don't know any Seahawks fans, to be honest.
I think I have one buddy who's a Seahawks fan. I'd like to get him on, but he's all the way in Kansas City. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if I can talk with him. So all right. That's it. Peace.
See ya.
See ya.